In October 2016, Kim Kardashian was staying at her Paris apartment after arriving in the city to attend Fashion Week. Kim's visit to Paris was already tense, as only days before this, she had been targeted on the streets by a prankster who tried to run up on her before getting brutalized by her security in the process.
Welcome to Paris again. Hey!
And in the days that followed, some noticed a Fiat 500 suspiciously following her every move and desperately trying to cut in front of paparazzi to tail her through the city. And eventually, Kim's trip would turn very dark on October the 3rd at 3 a.m. when masked gunmen dressed as police would burst into her apartment, tying her up and robbing her of jewels allegedly worth millions of dollars.
The thieves came into the main entrance of the building and walked down this corridor and convinced the concierge to come and open up the doors and let them in.
Previous reports claim the thieves had targeted Kim because of her non-stop activity on social media, showing her ring.
He was shaking her, shaking her with a gun. He was asking for money.
Where is money?
Yeah.
Where is money?
So she offered them her ring. They didn't seem to know it was worth $4.5 million. The concierge demonstrated on a Kim Kardashian lookalike how one of the robbers bound her with duct tape, first her wrists, then her feet, and taped her mouth shut. They laid her on the bed. She was wearing a hotel bathrobe and nothing else. Then more terror as a robber lifted her off the bed.
They take her into the bathroom?
Yes. And he put her just beside the bath.
A truly terrifying ordeal, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And apparently, hearing of the news in the middle of a concert, Kanye would abruptly end his performance, running off stage and rushing to be at Kim's side.
I'm sorry, there's a family emergency. I have to stop the show.
A troubled Kanye would be seen at Kim's side as she fled Paris, returning to the United States, notably missing her wedding and engagement rings. Following this horrific ordeal, Kim's security was stepped up, with an army of goons being spotted outside where she was staying like she was freaking Kim Jong-un. And despite surviving the ordeal, perhaps a few $1 million in jewels lighter, but with her life intact, the robbery would leave a lasting trauma on Kim. She would later speak openly about this trauma, describing herself as a completely different person since experiencing that attack, recounting her experience of that ordeal in several different media outlets, including an interview on David Letterman's Netflix talk show, and of course her own show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And whilst Kim had bared the most painful of experiences that day, naturally Kanye would also be affected by the trauma secondhand, with reports later surfacing that he was trying to employ counter-terror specialists to look out for Kim following the ordeal, even going as far as to say during an appearance on Keeping Up with the Kardashians that if anything had happened to Kim, that he would not rest until they were all dead.
If anything had really happened to you, I wouldn't have stopped until they was dead.
That's the GD coming out of him right there. Anyway, in the weeks that had followed the Kim Kardashian robbery, Kanye would be having long, emotional, on-stage outbursts, leaving fans worried about the state of his mental health. In October, at a show in Seattle, he dissed Jay-Z for not being more supportive of his family following the robbery.
You call me after the robbery, you say how you feeling. You want to know how I'm feeling? Come by the house. Bring the kids by the house.
Reports would also come out around this time suggesting that Jay-Z was sick of Kanye's erratic behavior and had even prevented their children from socializing with each other. Following that, at a November 17th show in San Jose, Kanye would catch headlines after a 25-minute rant about Donald Trump, who had just won the 2016 election days before, challenging fans who had booed his support for Trump's victory, telling them that they had been brainwashed by the internet, and reaffirming his own interest in a 2020 presidential bid. All that coming despite the fact that Kanye himself didn't even vote.
This crowd right here, I want to ask, was y'all Trump or Hillary? Trump won, right? And y'all telling me, is that one Trump person that came to the Kanye West show? Y'all lying! Y'all lying! The people that voted for either side still come to this show. I'm just saying that I know it's people here at my show that love Kanye West that also voted for Trump. There might be Hillary supporters who are louder. There's people who vote for either side that still come together and love music. The dumbest thing about politics is this idea of creating a separation. No one side or the other side is all bad. It's not just the echoing on the internet that made everyone believe, including Hillary, that she was all The celebrities are the influencers of our now. Just look at the president. He wasn't even in politics, and he won. In 2020, I seriously doubt I would have had any experience in politics either. I did not vote. Oh no, this St. Pablo ticket sales is going down now. Well, yeah, how you gonna expect people to vote for you if you didn't even vote? I'm concerned not about the idea of being president or the actual job of it. I'm concerned about putting out a concept of how to do the job in a new way. And if no one will do it in that way, I will take position in 2020 and do it myself.
Sure, there were nuggets of truth in Kanye's rant, but the fact that this was the state of his live shows at this point was very concerning. And sadly, that trend would only continue. As on November the 19th at a show in Sacramento, notably only 8 days after the 9-year anniversary of his mother's death, Kanye would have another epic extended rant on stage, taking aim at numerous people and organizations. Kicking things off by telling the crowd that they were mad they lost the election, telling them once again that the news and technology media had lied to them. He would say that Obama failed at making America great because he couldn't be himself or yell strange noises. And after this, seemingly referencing that rift that had emerged between him and Jay-Z, Kanye begged Jay-Z not to send killers to hurt him. Kanye would end the show by ranting about how the press would mock him for his rant before dropping the mic and walking straight off stage. But even after leaving the stage, Kanye wasn't done ranting, and he would continue his strange behavior online in the days that followed, spending the next few nights spam posting a whopping 99 images to his Instagram, low-quality images all without captions, mainly depicting items from old Maison Margiela lookbooks. This would leave fans and blogs completely perplexed at Kanye's current state of mind. And a day after abandoning his show and walking off stage, he had intended to do a makeup show in Los Angeles, with that show being cancelled just hours before Kanye was set to touch the stage. And then, the following day, it was revealed that the remainder of the St. Pablo tour would be cancelled completely without explanation. Clearly, Kanye was under a lot of mental strain at this time. But sadly, things would get much worse later in the day, as Ye would continue spiraling out of control and eventually finding himself in handcuffs in a psychiatric facility against his will.